Hey friends and family, this is Gina with Hope and Cope. This channel was started so that I could help other people that are going through someone else's addiction, but I also broaden it out and say someone else's lifestyle choices that are negatively affecting you. That could be multiple things. I don't even want to know how many things there are out there that our friends and family can do that affect us in a negative way. And so I'm hoping that this is a safe place that you can come and listen to the things I've been through and how they can help you. And if that does help you, then I would love for you to subscribe so that every week I try to put a video out every week, so that every week you'll see a new video, and I try to keep them fairly short. And then like it. And I like it when people make comments. So I'm looking for comments to start in the comments below. So jumping into the topic, this is just not a favorite topic of mine. None of them are. It's just terrible having to deal with. Part of me wishes I didn't know anything about dealing with someone else's addiction. But since I do, it helps me to share my experiences, so it makes me feel like that it wasn't for nothing, and that I can maybe pave a slightly smoother path for someone else. So without further ado, the topic today is about envy and comparison and self-pity. So yeah, it comes and goes. I'm not going to say I've conquered the self-pity. I'm better than I was. I used to have a real struggle with self-pity. And why did this happen to me? We had a good marriage. I had a good husband. We are Christians. We go to church. We have a biblical foundation. Why did this happen? And of course, there is a big backstory, and I don't have time in this video to go into that, of my husband's accident that he had right before his 30th birthday, and how he never recovered from that, and all the surgeries and the multiple losses. It's too much to cover, and I don't intend to right here. But I do have a video, though. I think I have a video where he shares his testimony, and if I can find it, I can attach it in this description below. But what was I going to say? So pity, self-pity, comparisons, and envy. So when my life fell apart and the man of my dreams, which he was still the man of my dreams after 24, 25 years. That hadn't really changed, even though, things were realistic, and he worked too much. I've got a cat in my lap. He worked too much, and and I was lonely for him a lot, and I talked to him about how much he worked a lot. So it wasn't just this, fairy tale marriage, but I still was very in love and very happy in my marriage, and I really admired and looked up to my husband in a million ways. And so when it all fell apart, I had a lot of self-pity. I knew a lot of people that I didn't feel like tried nearly as hard in their marriage as I did, and mine was falling apart and theirs wasn't. And maybe mine was falling apart and theirs was actually pulling together and getting stronger, and they're so happy, and blah 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 blah. And and then came the jealousy. I was just so envious of other people. I really tried to press through, even though it was hard for me to be with other couples. And I do know other really sweet couples that love each other and say kind things to each other and support one another. And it was kind of hard to be with other people. But of course, I knew I needed my friends desperately. I needed my family. I needed my church desperately. I did not want to separate just because it was painful for me to see what I had, what I don't have, why I don't have it, and it's not fair I don't have it. But I did just really struggle with envy and having to just cry rivers over why someone else has what I really felt like I protected and loved and nurtured and cared for and never took for granted. I just don't feel like I ever took my marriage for granted, and never took my husband for granted. And yet all these things still came into our life space. And so, and then that started, a lot of comparison. So, this caused also a lot of financial setbacks. So now I've got cat hair on my face. I'm so sorry. A lot of financial setback when he started his addiction, and he lost his business. And now other families that were, we were coming into our mid 40s, the children were practically grown, and we were just coming into a place where we could really have started to get ahead, and then it just all kind of fell apart, and I had to take a job for the first time, which was fine. Lots of people have to work their whole marriage, and I understood. I mean, that was one of the things I have said to my children, and I don't know if I've said it on these videos yet, but it is past due to be said if I haven't, and that is, I appreciated with all my heart that I was able to be a stay-at-home mom all through my children's lives, and that meant the world to me. And I would rather have had what I had for the first 25 years and then have what I have now than to have not had what I had for the first 25 years, because it was amazing to get to be home with my children and be at all of their events in school, and just what I got to have early on in my marriage was exactly what I wanted with my family, and I didn't want anything else. Well, that's not really true. I mean, I really had wished that we could make it better on one salary, right? That we could afford more things and do more things. But we didn't, and it was the choice I made, and I was content with it. I was happy the way it was going until it all fell apart. Then here I am struggling like a newlywed, struggling to make ends meet, struggling to put food on the table, taking a job making $8.50 an hour, and making 30 hours a week. And I mean, trust me, that did not compare to my husband's salary. And so it just was a hard time. Envy, just comparison, and self-pity. They were not my friends. They came in and they set up home and they took over, but they were not my friends. And so I am thankful. I know I've mentioned multiple times in other videos that early on, like 1 or 2 years after my husband's addiction, I found Al-Anon, which is a 12-step program for friends and families of people with addiction, and it helped me tremendously. It helped me to get over the envy. It helped me to get over the comparison. It helped me to get over the self-pity, and to recognize that yes, these feelings were natural, but they weren't helpful. And so I needed to look at everything that I had that was within my control, everything that I had that was still great and good and solid. And there were lots of things that were still great and good and solid. And I am super thankful for that. My relationships with my dearest friends, my relationships with my family and my brothers and my sister, my relationships in my church, my relationships with my children, my integrity, I, thank God, managed to sidestep the terrible ordeal of losing my integrity through that by going bonkers. And although I came close, I'm not going to say I didn't, I really struggled mentally, and I don't want to put in this video some kind of persona that I just skated through like I was on some kind of cloud and missed all that horrible stuff, because I didn't. I struggled with that stuff. I cried myself to sleep. I had a hard time, and it was really, really awful. And I just would love to help you be able to bypass that a little bit, to recognize that self-pity is not your friend. I know if it's, I'm as good a mom as so-and-so, and yet my child is the one that ended up with addiction. I know that's awful. But comparing yourself and blaming yourself and being in self-pity, I deserve better. I was always there. I did everything I could, and now my child is this or this or this. And and then my scenario is the spouse. But we can have that overwhelming self-pity. And I'm just going to encourage you to just count your blessings, whatever they are. If you only have one child and they're in addiction, then maybe you have nieces and nephews you have great relationships with, or other family members, or if you have multiple children and only one are in addiction and you've got others that are doing great, don't let the fact that one, fell into this awful situation and now they're in a snare that hopefully they'll come out of, hopefully that God will be able to intervene and they'll come out of, and they'll be on the other side and things will be great. That did happen with one of my children, and I definitely don't think she sunk anywhere like her dad, but she did go through her time like that, and God did bring us through to the other side, and all this was simultaneous with Rob's addiction, and there was a lot of other stuff I can't even tell. There's no way I could do it in a 10 or 15 minute video. So but just look at all the things you have to be grateful for. What on earth do you have to be grateful for? And don't have self-pity. And if someone else that we love dearly and we feel like we poured our life in, I felt like I poured my life into my husband. And, we feel like we pour our lives into our children, and they make a life choice, or they fall into something. Maybe it was, terrible things happen to people and they don't realize what they're doing, and it's not even a choice. It was a trick, or it was an accident, or it was innocent on their part to a huge extent, and now they're struggling with this addiction. Just don't feel like it's at you, and don't take it personally. Don't blame yourself, and don't wallow in self-pity. It's so ugly. It doesn't benefit anyone. How can you do this to me? How can you do this to your mommy? How can you do this to your mother? I did everything for you. It doesn't help. That doesn't help your child. It doesn't help your spouse. I said those things to Rob. How could you do this to me? I know I told him, and I've said this in other videos. I know I told him, it is like you're trying to kill me. I feel like you are trying, my husband that I loved and thought would die for me, I feel like you're trying now to kill me, because that's how painful it was. And but try not to compare, try not to judge. Always wish the best for people. If they have a great marriage going on, be happy. This world needs more great marriages. Trust me. If somebody else has great kids, be happy. This world needs more great kids, and it needs more great young people growing up to be great adults. Don't begrudge. Don't compare. Don't envy. Be content. The Bible says, Paul said, Apostle Paul said that he had learned in every situation how to be content. So just pray for contentment. Pray for God to show you how to realize, yes, this is terrible. Yes, this is painful. Yes, maybe even you feel like you don't deserve it, that you worked harder and you deserve something better. But learn to just be content where you are. Let the good Lord comfort you in your sorrow. And that is far better. That is far better than living in envy, comparison, jealousy, and self-pity. Those things are ugly. They are ugly. They will not serve you. They will not serve you in your other relationships. I needed my friends, and I needed to press into those beautiful marriages. I needed that. And it helped me, even though it was painful. It was a good pain. So we need to shed ourselves of envy, jealousy, comparison, and self-pity. And I hope this helps you. I'm going to put that Bible verse in the description below so that you can read it for yourself. And just know that through Christ, we can be content. We don't have to be joyful, happy, excited, best place ever, but we can learn to be content with where we are and let Jesus fill that gap. Let Jesus fill that hole of what's missing. What my husband lacked, I let Jesus come in and be that to me and comfort me and bring me comfort and bring me a measure of contentment. And it is possible by the grace of God. And if this is helpful, please share this with someone else. If you have a comment of something that has been helpful to you, how you avoided envy or comparison or self-pity, if you can leave a brief description of that in the comments below, I know that would be helpful to others. And if you like this comment, please subscribe to this channel. There'll be more coming. And I always pray for the people that watch my videos, so know I'm praying for you. And until next time, God bless you.